looks like the Red Sox are shaking up their pitching staff a little bit. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Red Seat Radio. My name is Corbin, and the Boston Red Sox added a new pitcher to this 26-man roster just a couple of hours ago. So what we are going to do in this video, the second video of the day, is break this down. We're going to talk about who got signed, how much they got signed for, why the Red Sox may have wanted to sign this player, and obviously what its impact could be on the 2024 Red Sox. But before we get into that, do me a favor, make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're new here, we talk Red Sox content almost every single day. Also, make sure you guys have hit the like button on this video as well. Just helps these videos out a ton, and it would mean a lot to me. Don't forget, you can get all these episodes always on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts in podcast form. All you have to do is head over to your favorite app and look up Red Seat Radio. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one. Let's get into it. Okay, so the news that broke just a couple of hours ago is that the Red Sox have signed utility/hybrid starter Brad Keller. I use those phrases because he's been both a starter and a reliever throughout his career. Much more time as a starter, but still, he spent time as both. And I don't exactly have the true details of the contract just yet, but there's a couple assumptions we can make. One, it's probably not a multi-year deal. It's probably a one-year contract. It's also probably not worth a whole lot. Brad Keller hasn't been exactly stellar over the past couple of years, which we will get into in a second. So my guess is this contract's probably going to be worth, I would say, maximum $2 million. Realistically, my educated guess based on what we've seen over the past is that this is probably like a 1 year, $1.5 million deal. Now, Brad Keller has spent some time in the major league so far this season. It was with the Chicago White Sox, who he was recently DFA'd from over the past week. In this season so far, he has a 4.86 ERA in 5 games, 2 of them being starts, with a much worse 6.55 FIP, meaning he was getting extremely lucky on the mound, which isn't exactly a great sign considering his ERA was already at 4.86, a 1.380 WHIP, and an 85 ERA plus, about 15% below league average production. And I can already see the dumpster diving trash organization's comments already starting below, but let's take a look and dive a little bit deeper into why the Red Sox may have signed him before we start bringing out those comments, especially based on just 5 appearances so far this season in 16 2/3 innings. If you take a look at his career in total, it's actually kind of solid. It spans a total of 155 games, 116 of those being starts, where he has a 4.28 ERA with a bit higher, but honestly right around the ERA, 4.37 FIP, a 1.445 WHIP, which isn't all that surprising considering so far in his 7 years at major league level, he's allowed an average of a hit per inning, exactly 9 per 9 innings, and he's walking about 4 per every 9 inning as well. He's not exactly a huge strikeout guy, sitting at 17.2% strikeout rate throughout those 7 years, which is 5% below the league average during that time, and all of that has led to a 104 ERA plus, about 4% above league average production over, again, his 7-ish seasons at the big league level. Honestly, league average really isn't all that bad, especially for a team that could really use some major league ready pitchers right now, with the announcement yesterday that Whitlock will be missing the rest of the season and getting elbow surgery. It's never a bad idea to have major league ready talent within your organization, and specifically with Brad Keller, he's going to be an immediate factor on the 2024 Red Sox as he's being added to the 26-man roster. What I am really curious about, though, is how the Red Sox are planning on using Brad Keller now that he's in a Red Sox uniform. They have a 5-man rotation right now, and like I said, he's spent most of his career as a starter, but at the same time too, the Red Sox 5-man rotation over the last couple of games specifically is starting to feel like they're getting a bit overexposed, right? Cutter Crawford hasn't exactly been the starter that we saw in April and May. In fact, it's to a tune of over a 4 ERA. Nick Pivetta had a really rough outing last time out. I'm curious if maybe Brad Keller is here to be in a 6-man rotation. I think it's a possibility. I don't think it's a likelihood, though. I think the Red Sox are just trying to stretch out their bullpen a little bit, and that's honestly where I see Brad Keller sitting in as sort of a multi-inning reliever, hopefully eating up some pretty important innings for the Boston Red Sox, and he is a much better reliever than he is a starter. He's posted a 3.62 ERA in 49 and 2/3 innings over his career as a reliever versus a 4.33 ERA posted as a starter in a much larger sample size of 646 innings. Obviously, that's a pretty big jump. It's almost a run here. It's about 2/3 of a run better as a reliever than he is as a starter. Look, I know this sounds a bit like a dumpster dive, right? And a lot of people like to use that phrase, but to be honest with you, dumpster dives tend to be the difference between really good teams and really mediocre teams. What I mean by this is teams that are really good are really great at being able to utilize the back end of their roster in the best way possible and get the most out of the guys like a Brad Keller, like someone that you pick up on the scrap heap. In fact, the Red Sox have done this quite a few times this season and over the past couple of years, and some of it's worked out really well. You had Pablo Reyes last year, who was really great for this team. Obviously, different story this year. Romy Gonzalez is part of that a little bit. Even when we're taking a look specifically at the pitchers, just over the past season or so, Brandon Bernardino was one of those players. Cooper Criswell was one of those players. Even Cam Boozer, to some degree, was one of those players, a guy that you pick up who really didn't have too much of a future at the major league level, and you made something out of them. You got some production out of these guys. In fact, a couple of those guys, Brandon Bernardino, Cooper Criswell, are major parts of the Red Sox team right now. These are guys that are helping the Red Sox win baseball games, and that's what separates a really good team from a mediocre team, being able to get that production off of the bottom half of this roster. So yes, maybe this is a dumpster dive. Maybe this is a small time pickup, but that doesn't mean it can't have a big impact. And so when you use the word dumpster dive, to me, it can be a positive thing. And in this situation, I really hope it is. To be honest with you, Brad Keller has not been good over his past few seasons, but he did have a stretch there back between 2018 and 2020 where he was a well above average pitcher. Clearly, the Red Sox see something in Brad Keller that they can either tweak or add to that would allow him to hopefully get back closer to what he was during that time frame than what he's been over the past couple of years. And to be honest with you, it's hard not to trust the Red Sox pitching program right now, right? They've been doing a whole lot of good things for this team this entire season. So I can't really doubt the Red Sox are going to be able to do something with this guy, but it is a bit of a project, right? He's not a perfect player. He's definitely rough around the edges, and it absolutely is a dumpster dive. However, this wasn't the only thing the Red Sox did today. They also had to add him to the 26-man roster, which meant sending someone down. So let's talk about the other move involved with this signing as well. So the Red Sox haven't officially announced this Brad Keller signing yet, at least at the time I am recording this video, but the report is that they are trying to get him onto the 26-man roster before first pitch of today's game, and that means having to send someone down. The person that was sent down for this was Zach Kelly. Now, I absolutely hate this. I understand why they did it, considering Zach Kelly pitched 3 innings in a row yesterday, the most he's ever pitched at the major league level, and they want to get someone in here who could contribute immediately, as opposed to Zach Kelly, who's probably going to need at least a day off, probably 2 days off before he sees in-game action. But man, Zach Kelly has been an entirely different pitcher this season, and he's really starting to shape up like a guy who could be a major contributor for the Boston Red Sox bullpen over the next coming years. So I absolutely hate seeing him not on this major league team. I'm a big Zach Kelly fan in general, so it's hard for me to see him get bounced back down to AAA, although again, I do understand why they did it. What's going to be interesting to me is how much the Red Sox are going to retool this bullpen in the coming weeks. I don't think they're going to keep Zach Kelly in AAA Worcester for all that long, but they also have Brian Mata, who's making his way back from injury, although hit a snag there with his lat, and they've got Isaiah Campbell coming back from injury as well. They're going to have a lot of different options for this Red Sox bullpen. Brian Mata, once he's fully healthy and ready to go, is going to need to be added to the 26-man roster, or you have to DFA him. You've got Garrett Whitlock, who's going to end up on the 60-day IL. There's a whole lot of things in terms of movement for this Red Sox bullpen that should be happening over the next couple of weeks. So I'm not absolutely heartbroken Zach Kelly went down. I just hate having him not on this major league team, because I do think, again, he could be a major contributor for the Boston Red Sox for years to come. Specifically this season in general, I think he could be a pretty big factor in helping the Red Sox shut some games down, especially after we get past the deadline with Kenley Jansen, and we'll talk about that in a video later this week. But overall, taking a look at this signing as a whole, no, it's not the flashiest signing in the world, but again, sometimes you need to have these unflashy, kind of ugly looking signings to help your team continue to roll, right? Sometimes getting a guy in here that isn't exactly the most prestigious or the biggest contract does end up helping your team in the long run. I think getting a league average pitcher, at least career-wise, in Brad Keller makes a lot of sense. My hope is that they have a plan here. Breslow, Bailey, Willard have some sort of plan figured out in order to get him to where they want him to be. And right now, it's hard to doubt that plan, considering every other pitching plan that they put into effect this season, for the most part, has worked out pretty well. I don't hate this signing. I don't love this signing, obviously. It's not something that gets me up and ready to go in the morning, but it's not a bad signing either. So overall, I don't know. We'll see how this move plays out, but I don't hate it. But that's just my opinion. So let me know in the comment section down below. What do you think of this? What do you think of the Red Sox signing Brad Keller? What do you think of the Red Sox demoting Zach Kelly down to AAA Worcester? Do you like it? Do you not like it? Let me know all your thoughts on the latest Red Sox signing in the comment section down below. As always, if you made it to the end of this video, don't forget, make sure you've hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Like I said, we talk Sox almost every single day. Also, if you like this video, make sure to hit that like button. It's how I know you enjoy this content. It helps these videos out a ton, and it would mean a lot to me. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one, and I will see you in the red seats.